The country where being happy is a crime. Who's behind the global cocoa deficit? And how to build play into our busy lives. I'm Affan Chowdhry. Welcome to Globe Now. So we get it. You feel like a room without a roof. Those are the catchy lyrics to the song Happy by Pharrell Williams. The tune has inspired these homemade tributes which helped turn the song into a global sensation. But when a bunch of youngsters in Iran posted their own version on YouTube, they were arrested by police. And that prompted a response from the American singer himself. So what did these young Iranians do wrong? Well, authorities have described the video as obnoxious and vulgar and saying it hurt public chastity. And that is apparently the business of police in Iran. Here's the video that was aired on state-run TV on Tuesday showing the youngsters and their so-called confessions. On social media, people were tweeting under the hashtag #FreeHappyIranians. Well, this Iranian journalist captured the feeling. And check this out, a tweet sent Wednesday from the Iranian president's English language account, quoting himself from a speech he made last year. Is that a reference to the controversy around this video? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Stay with us. Up next, what is driving the global cocoa deficit? When there's chocolate involved, honestly, who can say no? I can't. And now more people worldwide are consuming it. Now that has some experts worried about a possible cocoa shortage. And the Globe's Eric Atkins has been following the story and he joins me now. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the deficit. What is behind it?
Simply put, we're eating more than we're able to grow each year. Cocoa is grown in a very few small areas of the world, West Africa primarily. And demand for it, as you say, is growing, and suppliers there cannot keep up with cocoa beans, which is the raw material from which chocolate is made.
And where's the demand coming from? Is it the West? Is it Asia? Where is it?
It's everywhere. Right. In the West, dark chocolate is gaining favor because of its perceived health benefits. Yeah. People are having new demand for higher-end chocolates, artisanal truffles, that sort of thing.
I can attest to that.
But the real demand, the growth and new demand is coming from parts of Asia, China, India, Indonesia, places like that, where chocolate does not have a long history, and yet as middle-class incomes grow there, people are demanding the finer things in life, red meat, their own car, and chocolate.
So interesting. And let's talk about, a lot of people listening to this are going to wonder, am I going to have to start paying more for my bar of milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Cocoa futures in Chicago have risen by about 29% in the past year, and we're already seeing prices at the supermarket shelf go up. Further increases are expected come fall.
Right. Now, we're talking about a deficit, but in between a deficit and a crisis, what has to happen?
Well, we need to produce more cocoa beans, simply. And that's not easy because the plantations in West Africa are small, the farming techniques are old. These are techniques that have been passed down from generation to generation. Little fertilizer is used, and competition for other land uses is intense for other crops.
Now, I guess one of the things that people are going to be curious about is that if there is a greater demand, why don't farmers grow more cocoa beans?
They're simply not able to in many cases. Yeah. Improving yields is a difficult thing to do. Yeah. Many of the chocolate traders and chocolate companies are working with the government in Côte d'Ivoire as well as growers there to improve their sustainable farming techniques using pesticides, fertilizer to improve the yields and boost production.
And there is a question about, these companies are coming under greater scrutiny. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, the dark side of chocolate, if I can use that phrase, is labor practices. Some growers there have been accused of using child labor. Some chocolate companies have been sued by their shareholders for not being open about where they buy their chocolate. Now, for their part, the chocolate makers say they don't buy directly from the growers in West Africa. They have a middleman from which they buy chocolate-based products. They also say they're working to improve farming conditions there, farming techniques.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much, Eric. Well, you can learn more about the cocoa deficit in Eric's upcoming story to be featured in our newspaper and online, so do look out for that. Well, one thing you do need if your love for chocolate has no boundaries is exercise. And a new report reveals that Canadian kids aren't getting enough of it. They were assigned a D- at the first ever Global Summit on the Physical Activity of Children, which was held in Toronto. So with everyone having such busy lives, how do you get your kids more active? Well, we got some tips from an expert. Take a look.
We have such busy lives, all of us, and sometimes our kids are overprogrammed, they're inside on electronics, they're not outside playing the way they used to. One idea is you can do hopscotch. It's old-fashioned, we all did it. It helps kids develop balance and coordination, and you can use sidewalk chalk, or if it's really pouring outside, you can even do it with painter's tape inside in a hallway. Another idea that's similar, you can do tightrope walk, and you get them to balance on the tightrope, you get them to go sideways, backwards, they can even hop from side to side. Another tip I have is take things that you're doing in your day already and just tweak them ever so slightly to make them play. So for example, turn cleanup into a game of play by getting big open bins and taking soft toys and getting kids to throw them in the bins. That's a really fun way of getting kids to play and getting your house tidy at the same time. Another example of a tweak to your day is on the walk home from school, get your kids to jump over cracks in the sidewalk to practice their jumping. Get them to do it with 2 feet, get them to do it with 1 foot, get them to do it backwards. It's just a fun way of developing skills, playing when they normally wouldn't be playing. We are so busy, but a lot of that is by design, and sometimes you have to pull back on the organized activities and slow down and just give your kids time to breathe. And when they're home, open the back door, let them go out and play. If they're too young for that, go out with them, but just give them space to explore their surroundings and give them opportunities to play without directing it. They will be running and jumping and playing and climbing, I guarantee it.
Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. If you've got a moment, hop onto Twitter and tell us what you think. Will you be stocking up on chocolate in view of that cocoa deficit? Or give us your creative ideas on getting your kids off of the couch. You can find us at Globe Now. I'm Affan Chowdhry. Thanks again for watching.